world with the delicious new character you'll soon meet.
Welcome into a solo edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. Today, I just kind of wanted to come on here and share my thoughts on the reveal of one of the villains in the hotly anticipated sequel to The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. It's not one that we definitely had on our bingo card. I know for months and months and months, especially after that movie came out, we were thinking, maybe this is the Court of Owls time to make their cinematic debut, or maybe Mr. Freeze kind of gets a redemption arc here and, get the bad taste of Arnold Schwarzenegger and that whole performance from the 90s out of everybody's minds. So this reveal that Deadline has put out there that Clayface is going to be a big addition to Matt Reeves's The Batman Part 2, it definitely took me by surprise, just because I had to wrap my head around how a character that shapeshifts was going to work in the world that Matt Reeves set up with the Batman, which was very hyper-realistic, almost like the Nolan-verse in a way, and maybe even more realistic, just because you have the Riddler operating as a serial killer, you have the Penguin as a crime lord rising up the ranks, and you have all this crazy stuff in there. So initially I was kind of on the fence, but once I thought about it, Matt Reeves is the best guy to take on a character like this. And case in point, you look at the Planet of the Apes movies that he directed and all the work that he did with Andy Serkis as Caesar in those movies. It's definitely something that made me feel a lot better about what direction they would potentially take this character. And if you don't know really who Clayface is, he was created back in the 1940s. He is essentially a former actor who gets mutated, turns to life a crime. Clayface can shapeshift into anybody. And there's a really great Batman the Animated Series episode that kind of spells everything out. I think there is a way to do this character in live action and do it in the tone of what Matt Reeves went for in the first Batman movie. Like, it doesn't have to be a full-on blob of a dude just kind of running around for the entire runtime of this movie. You could potentially tie it into the flooding of Gotham, and maybe there was something in the water, and that's where the mutation came from. Like, it could be done, and like you could do definitely like a monster movie in the vein of maybe like the old Universal monster movies, where it's sort of like a Phantom of the Opera appearance from Clayface, where he's covering up his face with a mask maybe, and just part of him is deformed, or he could be a master of disguise. Like, there's so many different ways you can take it. I'm definitely intrigued about where this could go, especially with the team behind it. So I'm on board. I'm really, really curious to see what route they do go. There was another part of that article, and actually the main part of that article was Mike Flanagan. If you haven't seen The Haunting of Hill House or The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix, those are fantastic horror shows. He pitched DC a solo Clayface movie, a horror kind of tragedy is how he described it. And the studio reportedly didn't say no. So, you're telling me there's a chance there. I would absolutely love to see that version of the character as well, because nobody can do really emotional horror like Mike Flanagan these days. Case in point, you just look at those Netflix shows and there is just so many heartbreaking elements to them, and really a way of humanizing monsters and ghosts and everything in your past. So I would be on board to see both of those. And now that we have, DC Elseworlds with James Gunn under the helm of DC Studios, you can have your cake and eat it too. So I'm excited. Clayface isn't a character we've seen in live action on the big screen before. So I also like the fact that we could tie this into Harley Quinn, the animated series on HBO Max, in a very meta way, where the Clayface in that show is trying to be a very serious actor, and you can maybe have him land the role of the main villain in the Batman sequel and kind of play it off for laughs in that show. So I'm excited of all the possibilities here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you would like to see Clayface potentially portrayed in the Batman 2 directed by Matt Reeves. Leave us a comment, like and subscribe. Catch up on all our old episodes, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and right here on YouTube. I am Jeff. We'll be back with more episodes of Box Office Quarterbacks